Every couple trying to conceive wants to have a healthy baby, but most don't realize just how important nutrition is in achieving that goal. So here to share more is fertility expert and nutritionist Ayla Barmmer is back with us today. Ayla, thanks for joining us again.
Hi, thank you for having me.
And talking about fertility, I know that you have 4 do's and 3 don'ts that are really essential when it comes to nutrition.
I do. So there are 4 things that I'd really recommend women focus on to optimize their fertility in the 3 to 6 months prior to trying to conceive. So number 1 would be adding fertility power foods, as I like to describe them. So that includes eggs, which are rich in choline. And choline is something that 90 to 95% of women aren't even meeting the bare minimum recommendations for, never mind what is truly needed per the research to help support fertility and ultimately a healthy pregnancy. Cruciferous vegetables would also be high on the list. They contain a compound called glucoraphanin, which helps turn on like a fire hose of antioxidants in the body. And it's very protective, those antioxidants, for the reproductive tissue, for the developing egg, and then fermented foods. So a lot of people go straight for probiotics, but forget that fermented foods like, pickled carrots or sauerkraut, you can have billions of probiotics in just 1 tablespoon. Number 2, I would say, is balancing blood sugar. This is so important and often overlooked if you aren't a diabetic or aren't told that you have a problem with your blood sugars. It's really important for everyone to eat meals that are really balanced with protein, enough protein, and produce. So shooting for at least 30 grams at meals and a couple of cups of produce is a great way to do that. Being on what I call a blood sugar roller coaster is a stressor on the body, and we want to remove stressors to help support optimal fertility. Number 3 is maintaining adequate vitamin D levels. So vitamin D deficiency is incredibly common across all geographic regions and races. We are not living in nomadic tribes anymore. We're wearing clothes, sunscreen, and so I recommend trying to aim to keep those vitamin D levels within that 50 to 80 nanograms per milliliter range. And then lastly, and hopefully I'm fitting all this in here, evaluating the 4 Ps, as I call them, of environmental exposure. So that's personal care products, plastics, pesticides, and pollution. So those are 3 areas to focus in on to help reduce your toxin exposure, which can have a negative impact on reproductive hormones and ultimately fertility.
So Ayla, just going back to the eggs, how many eggs should a woman have a day?
So in order to meet choline needs, it's going to be difficult to do it through eggs alone. But what I have always recommended is at least 2 eggs with the yolk. The yolk is where all the good stuff is, and that's where a lot of that nutrient density is. So, but 2 eggs and other animal sources of protein, because choline is really primarily found in animal products.
And also for men, should they be doing the same thing and eating the same foods, or is it different?
There's a lot of overlap for women and men, which makes it fantastic for couples trying to conceive because you don't need separate meal plans. A lot of these foods have got, a benefit for both female and male fertility. And so to put very simply, just think about, rather than restriction, we want to flood the body with the right stuff. So lots of antioxidant-rich produce. It's not a time to restrict things like animal proteins. Those are actually really important and nutrient-dense for us. Yeah, those are meals that you can enjoy together.
And we're just about out of time, so really quick, the don'ts.
The don'ts, okay. Over-exercising and under-eating. That turns down our metabolic system, which will in turn turn down our reproductive system. The 2 talk to each other. And then lastly, because of what I just mentioned, a vegan diet. During our reproductive years and when fertility is the goal, it's not the time for a vegan diet unless you're going to heavily supplement the nutrients that you'd be missing.
Ayla, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely. We're going to have more information about Ayla on our website at katu.com. Stay right there. Afternoon Live, we'll be right back.